Today on Crisis in the Toyverse, for those who are watching this first, you know exactly what's going on. That's right, we are putting together a custom Mezco cape. Now, pre-orders have closed on this. All the capes have been made. I will be contacting everyone very shortly to start the payment process on this. With that being said, though, do yourself a favor, grab a candy bar. If you drink, grab a beer, pop some popcorn, watch the video first before applying anything to your Ascending Knight Batman. I can't stress that enough. And then if you have questions after that, contact me and I'll try to guide you through them. Guys, it may not be the best video, but it is a labor of love, and it's because of you guys wanting these capes that this video is possible. So thank you. So sit back and relax, and let's start the show. So guys, here we are. It is time to customize and make your Ascending Knight Batman have a articulated cape. So what you're going to need is a tool that has a thin, small center such as this. You need a pair of scissors. In this case, I'm using fabric scissors. A small bowl, and in this case, a shot glass. Piping hot thing of water. And of course, the Ascending Knight Batman. So let's kick this video underway, and I will show you how to do everything. Remember when I posted the video for those who saw this on the Mezco 112 Collectors Collective group? Look at all this discoloration I got on it. It broke my heart. On the back, it just... There's bad news all over. I mean, it's not exactly horrible, but I can definitely notice it, and it drives me crazy. So, it's just something for you guys to be aware of. So, back to the original figure. You got your hot water. Another thing you're going to need is a tool like this. Because what we're going to do... Now, I did this video in two parts. Yesterday, it came out horrible, so I'm kind of doing a re-edit on it. But I'm going to include the original footage so you can see step-by-step best way possible. But what I'm trying to show you is, as you dunk the figure in... Let's see here. Here's the water. Let's get the camera to go down. As you dunk the figure in, you don't want to go past here. So... you just want to get it in enough where it's in there and it's soaking. Wait, give it 15-20 seconds. Pull it out. Obviously, on the first run, you're going to pull out the ball peg. And then from there, you're going to start maneuvering, if the camera will focus with us, this back and forth, back and forth. Every little bit. You just want to get the glue loosened underneath, because that's your biggest enemy here. Because of the way they glued the cowl with the cape, it just creates a lot of problems. So once it cools down a little bit and you've moved it around, up and down, back and forth as best you can, stick it back in. Do the same thing you did before. Don't let it go too far. Another 15-20 seconds. Pull it out. Maneuver it some more. And as you maneuver it, what's going to happen is, and you'll see this in the video, this back piece is going to start to soften up on the Kevlar part of the cowl. And you want to keep exposing that. And I'm going to pull this off just to show you what I mean. This area right here, let's get some light down on it, is all glued in on the inside. So this is the area you're trying to get up. So as you continue to dunk, it's going to get hot and it's going to loosen up. And then when you stick this part back in, you just stick it as close as you can get it, but not too close, and just keep working it, and then just keep maneuvering this around. As it comes looser, and I'm going to pop it off again just so you can see, there are seams connected here that hold the cape in place. Take a small pair of scissors, you'll see in the video, but as it gets closer, use a seam ripper or a pair of small scissors and just chop off that piece or cut the piece of string that's attached. So that's just an FYI. Now, once it's super loose, what you're going to want to do is plug it back, or not plug it back in. Once it's super loose and up, and this is the part that I really didn't get a good chance to show in the video. As you see there, it will get looser. At that point, you want to take the smallest possible point, stick it in. I'm going to move the cape so you guys can see. But you'll have the cape that will kind of hinder you a bit. You're just sticking that in and slowly prying it out. Just be very careful and delicate. Don't rush. That's the biggest problem that I had with this. Don't rush. Once you get it enough and you're maneuvering around getting that goo of the glue off, it will pop off, and it'll pop off no problem. I promise you guys, it will pop off. I've tried this. I've spent a lot of money trying this. It does work. I've applied it several times now, and it works. So it's sort of like science. Once you apply it a couple times and it works for you, it works out great. So I'm going to speed through parts of the video. I'm going to chop it down and edit it right now. So when you see it on your screen, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. After that, you'll see what's next. From here, I take the original cape and I wrap it around the figure. All right, you don't want any of the hot water to get burned. All we're trying to do right now is get this top part of the cowl right here, the Kevlar part, nice and soft. And we also want to remove this. So from there, if I bring the camera down like so and zoom in and then bring it back down some more, is all I'm going to do is barely dunk it in and just let it set there for a few. Holding it here for a moment. Once that's nice and wet, all you want to do is gently pop off that headpiece right there. And then just slowly begin to wiggle the cowl piece around. So let's go ahead and dunk this back in. Once again, remember, you don't want this to touch the actual fabric of the costume itself. It's made of some weird material. When I asked Mezco about it, it's like some screen printing technology that they use. It's like a nylon silk based stuff. And like, how do I want to say it? It's pretty much very susceptible to heat and extreme cold. So once again, just taking your time. That's all we're going to do here. And once it's out, just shake it off a little bit. Bring it back in. And just gently move. You want to just move that around, get it nice and soft. Now after a while, you're going to notice things like this start to happen, where you can actually pull this up to expose it to the soft plastic piece. And when you do that, just dunk it back in. Once again, not too crazy. All we're trying to do is get it nice and soft. Let me just bring this back in the camera here. Is that the seam area is going to start to loosen up between the cowl area and the actual. So you bring it back in. Here's the figure again. The camera will zoom in. All I'm doing is making this nice and soft. So we take it back in for another dip. Now there's not a set number here. It's just patience. I like I said, I keep stressing it, but patience is the key. I bring it back in, then I take my tool here and I find where the peg is plugged in. Camera's really doing a shitty job with this, guys. There we go. Bring this back up. Find the area between the cowl and the costume. Force it in. And just gently apply. If it's still too hard, then you need to stick it back in water. Continue the process until it's ready to pop. The camera will work with me. That's the inside. There's the top. Now as for the front of the cape, all you're going to want to do now is take some scissors and cut along those seams. Let's go ahead and do that right now. last couple seams right here. And voila, you got it all popped off. So here we are, guys, with the cape fully attached and glued in. And now this version of the cape is the seam sewn on the outside. So those of you who ordered on the outside, this is what the final product looks like. In a moment, I will show what it looks like the other way with the cape sewn in. So just to break down a rundown here, in terms of the cape itself, we have a wire that runs throughout the top here all the way. So you can bend that any way you want. So it feeds through the top, and when we designed the cape, we wanted to keep the folded over look that the default figure had. So if you play around with it, you can get it. Now the wire runs pretty far down, which will allow you to bend up here, allow you to bend up there. You have another point if you follow the seams that bends up like that. And then we have another one that I added to the back. And then another one like that. And then, of course, over here again. So if you count everything up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 wires running throughout. So you can definitely get it in lots of poses. So if you want that windswept look like so, you can do it like that. And because there's support in the back, you can obviously get the cape flowing up like so, quite a bit, like that. So there are lots of options in terms of posing here. I try to make it as pose friendly as possible. I really don't know what else to say, just be honest with you. As you can see on the inside, the materials, it's a nice sturdy material, and everything's sewn in at the end. I got to trim this a little bit, but we did try to sew all the pieces together at the tip so you don't have the wire sticking out. And I did bend the wire at the tip so it's not just a straight piece going out, because early on, after I made that first cape, I did notice some problems. So I tried to craft it in a way that works. And if I just lift it up here, you can see it's a really good material. It's like one of those new cosplay materials that you can pick up at a Joann's or like a Hobby. I don't know if they have it at Hobby Lobby, but it is a solid material. It's going to look great. Just, you know, it is a wired cape, so be careful with it. Don't go super crazy, but we did find good wire to put into it, and I want you guys to know that. So that pretty much wraps it up for the outside seam cape. Give me a moment real quick. I'll show you the inside version of the cape, and we'll take it from there. So once we have the neck unattached from the ball peg, as you can see, there's a gooey mess of glue that they glued in there. All you need to do now is take the bottom piece, attach it with your cape, just find the hole. I've tried to cut each hole to make it work for you guys. You just fit it in. Just got to be smart with it. Make sure it's all the way in. And then you stick it on top and it rests there. So that's basically how that looks. What you're going to want to do from here, to be honest with you guys, this is what I've told everybody about this, is I take a little bit of glue and I glue it around here. Let's zoom in. I glue it around here. And then I attach my cape in a delicate way to make sure everything matches up. I hold it down until it's set in. And then I take a little more glue and I glue it right into the peg hole. And I line everything up properly. And I press down on it a little bit and hold it down until it fits on the figure right. And then you're set to go. Because without it, you're constantly going to have this. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. That's totally on you. I'm just telling you, once I have this cape on, I don't ever want to take it off. So if you plan on reselling it, you may want to go back to the original cape. But once again, that decision is totally based on you guys. So let's go ahead and show off everything fully assembled, rocking and rolling, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, here I am with the inside version of the cape. I've already applied it to the figure, but I just wanted to show you guys how it looks with the seam sewn in. And if you wanted to see how it looked extended, let's see if I can get the camera to go back. Now you may see it break out of focus a little bit, but if I get them to stand, you can definitely get that action with it, which I think is very cool. If I flip it over to the front, you can see it hold its weight. Like, it works the same as the other cape. The only difference is the seam is done on the inside and as opposed to it being done on the outside. Either version I think looks great. I think it just comes down to a personal preference, to be quite honest with you guys. Same amount of wires. You got the wire here at the top. You got a wire here. That makes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So both versions have 7. I forgot to count one of those. You can still get the draped over look, no problem whatsoever. So let's go ahead and wrap this up and we'll take it from there. So guys, this pretty much wraps up the Ascending Knight review in terms of the custom cape. I just want to take this time to say, if you have any questions or anything of that nature for those who ordered, don't feel any hesitation into contacting me. I will try to address anything you need. If you need me to put on the cape, let's talk about that too. I'll be more than happy to do it for you guys if some of you feel uncomfortable. Like I said, this was a big learning process, so I appreciate you guys sticking through with me and watching this thing. I know this video was freaking long, but we had a lot to cover, and I tried to cover everything the best way I can. Once again, I'm sorry about the video quality on some of this. It's the only way I know how to do it right now. I'm working on getting better. So, once again, thank you very much. So, normally when I do my reviews, I got this big plug at the end. First off, if you guys will do me a big solid, if you'll go on Facebook and look up Stephanie Stockert, you'll find her name connected to me. Just tell her thank you. She worked really hard on these capes for you guys. I pretty much volunteered her to do all of this stuff. So, it was a process, but she was really happy to make it for you guys. I hope you guys really enjoy it, because she really wants you guys to enjoy it too. So just send her a thank you if you're satisfied with the cape and stuff. And I really hope you are, because that was the goal of this. This was not to try to do a big money-making scheme or anything like that. I wanted to try to deliver you guys a cape that I would be proud to display with my action figures as well. I got a couple things to plug real quick. As you know, this channel is part of undercovercapes.com. They got a whole bunch of geekery podcasts if you're into DC, Marvel, things of that nature. Independent comics, movie reviews, things of that sort. TV reviews, video games. Go check them out if you get some free time. If you want to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. But by no means do you have to. I just figured I'd throw it out since I'm talking. Also, head over to Extreme Dash Sets if you are a fan of pop-ups. If you're not, I get it. Some people aren't. I'm not here to try to force you guys. But go check them out. It helps out this channel just by checking them out. Also, on Instagram, I'm part of Toy Lover Crew. If you'll go check out that, maybe even use the hashtag. I'd love to feature you guys with all this Cape Mania. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Take care. And until next time, great googly moogly.